And it was at this point that I realized that I may have solved part of the mystery. It would seem that most people that have researched this incident didn't take into account that maybe the Canadian newspapers could have misspelled Moncla's name as Monica, and they didn't read any of the reports out of Ontario in the days following the Kinross incident. And this debunks the notion that Moncla and Wilson were flying after some unidentified flying object. You see, in 1953, the US Air Force in the Upper Peninsula was actually having a tough time setting up training flights for its air defense pilots, as there wasn't much real-time practice for these pilots to intercept actual planes. Something that a lot of people leave out of this story as well is that years later, the US Air Force actually declassified some of the documents regarding the Kinross incident. And a researcher by the name of Gord Heath found the Canadian pilot mentioned in these documents, and his name was Gerald Fosberg. Fosberg said he had no contact with Moncla or Wilson that night and never saw their plane, but these documents say that Fosberg was flying 30 miles south of what his projected flight path was supposed to be from Winnipeg to Sudbury, Ontario. Logic would have it that the US Air Force saw a plane flying slightly off course of where it should have been flying, and the USAF then told Moncla and Wilson to go after this flight for practice. And the newspapers basically confirmed this, as they say over and over again that this was part of a routine training program. According to OpenSkiesProject.org, at a later date, the Royal Canadian Air Force responded to an inquiry from a Neil J. Almquist in 1963. The Royal Canadian Air Force said they never had a flight intercepted that night. But the key here is they claimed they never had a flight intercepted that night. And it's quite possible Moncla and Wilson's jet crashed before they ever had the chance to intercept Fosberg's flight. Fosberg himself claimed he never saw an American jet on his flight. But it doesn't negate the fact that Moncla and Wilson might have been trying to intercept his plane before they crashed, thus never providing evidence of an intercept from the point of view of the Canadian pilot. Another thing that both newspapers left out, even going up to today's reporting, another F-89 Scorpion near Truax Air Force Base in Madison, Wisconsin, had crashed and killed 2 other people the same night that Moncla and Wilson disappeared. 2 men by the name of John Schmidt and Captain Glenn Collins were also on a routine training mission when they crashed into a swamp near a body of water called Lake Wingra. Something that many people miss about this story is that these models of F-89 Scorpion were having lots of trouble with engine failure around this time. It was so bad that there were 6 different F-89 Scorpions that just collapsed in midair in 1952. According to a website called OpenSkiesProject.org, the F-89 Scorpion was grounded for modifications the previous year on September 22, 1952, due to structural and stability issues. Quote, the problem was attributed to a faulty design in the wing structure and would need to be addressed before any F-89 could be deemed flight-worthy again,